Hello and welcome to More Than a Game. My name is Tommie C, and I'm joined this week by OG More Than a Game member George. Welcome back, mate. Great to have you
Tommie,
back on the pod.
it's fantastic to be back. As I was saying to you earlier, the day before the pubs reopen in London, so this may be the last time you see me for a while, or I may be just doing my own little quarantine after this week because we have a standing booking at 12:30 tomorrow at a local. So,
mate, are you going to look more or less dishevelled tomorrow than today?
Well, the hairdresser's open. I can't get a booking, so I'll probably be more, if you can believe it. So,
very good. Well, mate, look, plenty of football to talk about. So let's hook in straight away into the Premier League because you and I, we've just watched Tottenham versus Man United, and for once, it was a big game that had two big teams, and it actually served up a good game of football as far as I was concerned. Mate, what did you make of this one?
Yeah, I thought, especially the last 10 minutes of the first half, and then the second half were great viewing. But I think it was to do with Man U playing well and Spurs not necessarily playing well. But the decision, if you want to talk about the first goal that was disallowed from Cavani, which was some really nice build-up play, McTominay flicking maybe Son's ear or face or something, but
he poked him in the eye.
Yeah, he threw an elbow into his head. Son went down looking concussed, and it was maybe a fingernail in it, and it actually spoiled quite a good goal with McTominay, I think, to Pogba, and then Pogba to Cavani, and Cavani with a really, really good finish, and they'd been pretty quiet in the first half, and then they did that. Scored
it really
the goal.
spurred the game. It really spurred the game into life after that.
Spurred Son, who they end up taking the ball down the other end and scoring from a Mura cutback, and then it really seemed to spark Man U, which was probably bad for Tottenham. They should have just taken. It was a really, really exciting end to the first half, and all the pundits here, I think it was Roy Keane and Micah Richards were going absolutely nuts. As you would expect, VAR ruining the game. And the funny thing was the referee went and had a look. Like the VAR guy said, have a look. Everyone, I can't believe anyone would call that a free kick. And especially if you watched it again and again, because he saw it live and then he watched it on the screen and then for some reason disallowed a goal for it, which was absolutely crazy.
So we had Paul Ince here in the studio at halftime in Australia on the Premier League feed, and he was pretty certain that it was a free kick and that the referee made the right decision in disallowing the goal. And I mean,
can I ask you if Son hadn't gone down, would it have been a free kick? He absolutely milked it for all it was worth.
Ooh, that is a tough one because, and I think that's a good point. Is that I think if he sort of slaps him in the face, slaps him in the chest, I suspect that he probably wouldn't get a free kick for that, even if he goes down in the same way. But because he got like sort of a finger to the face or to the eye or whatever it was, yeah, I reckon I think that's sort of almost more foul worthy then. But yeah, mate, I don't know. Like for me, I think it is a foul.
Oh no, I'm not having that. I can't have that. I think I don't want to defend Man U. I don't want to feel sorry for Man U, but it made me feel sorry for them. And you shared that photo of what's his name, the assistant coach,
Mike Phelan.
Yeah, Mike Phelan, absolutely look into the sky, and Solskjaer. Even Solskjaer went nuts, which is very, very rare thing.
That is saying something, isn't it? That Solskjaer just lost his shit, right? Because the man's ice cold.
Mate, it would happen a million times a game. Like that's he put his hand out just to get a feeler, and there you go. I'm glad Arrowhead's 18's absolutely firing shots at you because I don't know, mate, you've been wrapped up in cotton wool too long where you are, Tommie. I think. But it actually, and then just to move on from that, so Spurs score the goal, gets them to half time, and then Man U come out absolutely steaming and just putting the pressure on. And Spurs sort of sat back and kind of invited it and didn't do much. And then I think and then sort of
was classic Jose, wasn't it? Like, to get a 1-0 lead, and they looked like sort of for a while they were going to hold on to it. And then, then Man United equalised, and you sort of felt that they're really just still holding on for the draw now.
Yeah.
And you always felt like this Man United team, they've demonstrated many times throughout the season that just every week they're going to play terribly for the first 60 minutes and then just turn it on in the final 30 minutes. And they did it again here. And, I mean, in the end, it turned out to be a 3-1 convincing win, but it wasn't really for the first 70-odd minutes.
Yeah, but I thought Cavani was excellent. Pogba was really good. And it was interesting because Cavani and Pogba were sort of playing as the forwards with Rashford, and the commentators were saying at the start of the game that they're not going to have any pace, and they're going to struggle. And I thought they were actually I thought they were actually pretty good. And Cavani, put that in the bank with that header. I mean, he missed one earlier, which was sort of a tougher, higher ball, but that put it on a plate like that for him, he's going to drill it. And then who was it? Greenwood in the end getting the third. But yeah, Spurs did have that one chance. I think it was off the post from Cavani. I think when he tried to clear it.
Cavani was just doing everything.
Yeah, he was in everything
at both ends.
Yeah, at both ends, exactly. So I think Man U actually need him, and I think he's because he's been in and out and injured a little bit. When he's played, he's been pretty good, and they don't really have a number 9 like him in their team. So.
He's been incredible for them, and it's been a real shame that he has been injured, because who knows how Man United's season could have gone with him playing probably another 10 extra games and maybe contributing an extra 10 goals. Maybe if they had Cavani. Maybe if they had Cavani on for the first 30 minutes of a game, then they might actually be ahead and be playing better football than
instead of having him come on in the last 30. Yeah,
exactly.
And I think it takes the pressure off Rashford and Greenwood. And I think he's a lot better than Martial. So,
Well,
so
let's face it, there's a lot of footballers at the moment that are better than Martial.
Anyway, I think he doesn't want to stay. So, I think
Wait, Cavani or Martial?
No, Cavani. I think he's looking to leave from all reports. But, they should try and hold on to him, especially if they can't get a world-class replacement.
Well, and let's face it, I guess they've got Rashford. Like, I don't think they want a world-class replacement, like, unless they can get Haaland, which, let's face it, they can't. And so they'd be better off holding on to, I think, Cavani for another year, maybe even 2, and letting Greenwood, I guess, continue to develop, in my opinion.
Unless they can get Harry Kane.
Well, mate, that's a very good segue. Because
Tommie, start it up.
Well, let's face it, because Spurs' season is finished, right? Like, they're out of Europa League. They've got the League Cup to come, and I think that's really all they've got left, because they're not making Champions League. They could still qualify for Europa League through the league, but pretty much their season's finished. No one cares about the League Cup other than like tin pot clubs. So, like, Kane, like, there's been non-stop rumours all week that Kane is going to be going. That he's going to be leaving Spurs at the end of the season if they don't qualify for the Champions League. This is like
they're not catching West Ham, mate, are they?
No chance. But even if West Ham do drop off, then it's going to be Chelsea or Liverpool that are going to catch the fourth spot. So it's definitely not Spurs in the form that they're in. But
and just their spirit, they've got no. They just don't seem with it. Lloris could have made a couple of saves today, but he also let in one he should have saved, and I just don't see it. And it's been like this for a while. So,
100%. And today was a good example of a game where Spurs probably needed to capitalise on that early momentum and try and get a second and even a third, but they really went into their shells.
Which is what they did against Newcastle last week as well. Well, I mean, they didn't put their chances away when they were dominating, and then Newcastle came back to haunt them. So, yeah, I don't know, unless Jose's they're going to give him a blank checkbook and just be like, go for it, mate. Top up this squad, because I don't know what he can do with it.
They might have another 60 million with Harry Kane, his departure at the end of this season. But look, I've got to say that
they're going to need more than 60 million to sort that one out.
Well, you never know, mate, because I mean, Harry Kane could say, "No, I don't want to be here. I want out." And I mean, that would be like a terrible situation for Spurs to be in. But like this just smacks of sort of around like Wenger era Arsenal, where
You're getting that
they would
vibe, aren't you?
lose. Yeah, exactly. Where like they would lose a player who just wanted to win a Premier League title, whether it was Van Persie or that. Remember that had Nasri and Sanya, and
That was
there was another. Yeah,
Adebayor,
and another fullback who went to City, and they just lost. Like
Clichy.
Clichy and I think it was Bakary Sanyal, wasn't it? And
Yeah,
it
he
just
went to
seemed like
City.
they were losing a player like every season, two or three, sometimes even a season to City, and they would go on and just kill it.
But this is comparable. This is comparable to the Van Persie sort of move if he went, because he basically won Man U the title the next year. So.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a perfect Harry Kane sized hole at City right now with Aguero sort of moving on, and they've already said, "Oh yeah, we're not going to go out and spend big money on a striker." Well,
yeah, they can't afford Haaland. All right.
Yeah, well, let's face it, they can't afford Haaland, but they can probably afford Kane if Kane says, "I'm done, I'm out," or I'm going to leave on a free, or just basically sulk on the bench for 12 months or something like that.
The lucky thing for Spurs is they're basically, when the season's done, Kane goes to the Euros, so he doesn't have a lot of thinking time. The seasons and it's so congested, the fixture list. You know, he's not going to have a full summer to sit on the beach and think about what he's going to do, and also the COVID stuff. So I think there won't be any crowds in the Premier League this season. There might be some in the FA Cup or something, but so you know, revenue stuff's going to play a part as well. So we'll see.
It's a good point.
Fuck Spurs.
Transfers.
Fuck Spurs. They're a bit depressing to watch, I've got to say. No, it's just you want them to play that. You want them to be shredding teams and playing that sort of exciting football, but it's just not catching on.
Yeah, it's a good point. Mate, let's move on though to my beloved West Ham. They put on an incredibly bipolar performance again, where they absolutely shredded Leicester for probably 65 minutes.
Yeah, 70 minutes.
And then absolutely shat the bed as soon as they conceded one. They just looked like they were going to concede about 4 or 5 more. They just were completely unable to then put a couple of passes together, play out of defence, or even string together an attack. And it just seemed like they're two separate teams. As soon as they concede, they look like conceding about another 4 or 5 after that. Amazing that they've managed to, I guess, get 3-0 up against Leicester and Arsenal in not consecutive weeks, but what is that, in 3 weeks, and then managed to go on and concede 5 goals unanswered sort of in the meantime, which is incredibly frustrating. But mate,
so have you seen the stat for Jesse Lingard? Like
I think he scored the most goals in the Premier League since he signed for West Ham. Is that right?
Yeah. So I'm trying to pull it up now. Let me see if I can get it up. Yeah, goal involvement. So he's one under Harry Kane, unless this was yesterday. So I don't know if this has been up to date.
Is that for the whole season?
No, since he joined.
Since January.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah. With his 2 goals, he's now scored the most. So he's scored 8 since he joined. I
thought he might have been a decent shout to win the Golden Boot in the Premier League, but yeah, it's probably a little bit of a bridge too far.
And he did, and that first goal he scored was absolutely cracking. The one where he bent it round.
It was an absolute peach. In fact, it was one of those ones where you go, nah, he hasn't scored from there, and you look a little bit closer, and then on the replay you're like, hang on, no, he snuck that in, and it was really unexpected. Mate, he means them all.
There was when I was trying to pull up that stat, there was I think it was an article on the Sun that said, you know, man, you don't need Harry Kane. They've got Jesse Lingard. So there you go. How are West Ham going to pay for him? You've got to tell him to stop. Tell him to start playing shit.
Well, it's a good point. And I mean, we're going to be in a similar position, I guess, to City, where we're going to be relying on Jesse Lingard and Harry Kane, respectively, putting in transfer requests so that the other clubs can afford them.
Well, I think there was some talk about 50 to 60 million the other day for Jesse Lingard, which is incredible if you said that at the start of the season.
made it be incredible if you could have said that like about three months ago. But I think the ultimate compliment really is that I suspect Daniel Levy, when he goes in for negotiations with City, he's going to be saying, look, City, I know you've got deep pockets, but you're going to be looking at Jesse Lingard type money for Harry Kane.
Yeah, it's the best, most informed player in the world. It's pretty incredible. And then, so they've got the 3, and then Bowen scored that nice one as well, and then Kelechi stepping up again. But I just thought Leicester's defence was so susceptible to the balls over the top, and it was just like the centre back. What's his name? The guy from Man U.
Fofana?
No, not the other guy. Hang on, let me pull it up. From Leicester. Johnny Evans. Yeah, he just looked a bit slow on a few occasions, and there you go. I forgot his name. My bad. But
well, that was probably one reason why he got let go a couple of years ago from Man United, because he has been pretty slow for a while now. But I guess it was a strange game in the sense that, like, Fofana got booked, I think, pretty early on, and probably could have gotten a second yellow card as well. So I think Ndidi as well, he probably, there was a decent shout for him to be sent off as well. So I think in some ways Leicester were pretty lucky not to have probably lost a little bit more convincingly than what they actually did in the end.
And but then you had Fabianski making a couple of big saves, and then that one on Pereira, the one-on-one there. So
yeah. That's true. But like in the first half, there, I think there was one with Kufal, where like he took one extra touch too many, and it would have put it basically on a plate for Lingard as well. So I don't know, man. Pretty frustrating performance. But do you think this is a case of Leicester getting the death wobbles again? Are they a chance to miss out on the Champions League again?
Yes, they are, because they're 2 points ahead of Chelsea and 4 points ahead of Liverpool, and then you've got Spurs a couple of points behind them. So I think that there's any sort of 2 of those 4 can make the top 4. So, and I think I'm not convinced by Leicester's form. I don't know, they're sort of a bit Jekyll and Hyde, and West Ham are similar, but their form trajectory has been pretty good in the last.
Well, I guess the thing for West Ham now is they're through this really challenging period of fixtures where they've played Leicester, Arsenal, who else have they played? Liverpool, and Wolves, all in this sort of 6-game run. Remember that they started off the season with, and now I guess the challenge is that, okay, you've got through like these really difficult games. Now there's a whole bunch of games that you're expected to win. Now go on and win them. And I guess really the ball is in West Ham's court. Like if it weren't for the injuries, I would almost argue that they would be favourites for making the Champions League now. But with so many injuries, I think
I've just pulled up Leicester's fixture list, and so. They're in the FA Cup semi-finals, so I think they're playing next weekend. Then they've got West Brom, Palace, Southampton, Newcastle, and then their last few games are Man U, Chelsea, and Tottenham. So if they win those sort of 3, the 3 against the lower sides of Southampton, then they might set themselves up, because they don't want to be going into those last 3 games, needing points, because, or maybe the Man U game, they might not care, but the Chelsea and Tottenham will definitely need the points. So,
and I guess Man United could still be in the Europa League by that stage, and they could have sort of shored up like second place, and so they might be thinking, well, let's just go and win a trophy kind of thing.
They're 7 points ahead of Leicester at the moment, so that's a solid buffer.
So I think really West Ham's big game now until the remainder of the season, other than Chelsea, I think they're all very winnable games. So it's looking like that. I think West Ham play Chelsea, I think it's in 2 weeks' time or maybe 3 weeks' time, and that's looking like that could turn out to that could almost be like a playoff for fourth place at I guess at this rate, or third place, depending on which way you want to look at it. But
so West Ham,
that's going to be a real cracker of a game.
Yeah, definitely. So West Ham have got Chelsea on. So they've got Newcastle on the weekend, then Chelsea. Then they've got a pretty good run of Burnley, Everton, Brighton, West Brom, and Southampton. So, it's theirs to lose.
The exciting thing is that every team that's in this top 4 run is going to be dropping points. There is not one team that is going to win the next 7 games in a row, because just none of those teams, I don't think, have the consistency to be able to do it. And even Chelsea, I mean, they were probably favourites for that 4th spot maybe a few weeks ago, but then they just go and get absolutely tonked by West Brom, and everyone just goes, pretty much just throws the form book out the window. So, very, very exciting times. But there was one other game that was played this afternoon, and that was Burnley hosted Newcastle. Newcastle pulling out pretty much a win out of the bag. I remember I switched this on just as I finished work, and Newcastle scored and equalised. I went, oh yeah, good for Newcastle. And then they scored again, and I was like, oh, this is a strange feeling, because it feels like Newcastle are winning 2-0 and were winning the whole time that I was watching. So good result for Newcastle.
Very good result. So just it puts them now 6 points up on Fulham with also a game in hand. So it's a pretty important win. And the last 2 weeks where they've collected, those 4 points, it's going to be tough for Fulham, who were as 2 games back on Brighton and sort of 1 game over. They've played 2 games more than Brighton and 1 game more than Newcastle.
And not to focus on, sorry to not focus on Newcastle too much, but Fulham, I mean, it didn't feel like that long ago that we were saying that Fulham, that felt like they were in a decent run of form and that like they were still a chance to escape relegation. But they've now lost 4 in a row, and like Newcastle have sort of snuck away on them a little bit. Like you say, they're 6 points clear of them now. And
Brighton as well, who have been picking up those wins that they weren't picking up in the first half of the season. So
exactly.
So St. Maximin coming back as well has made a big difference.
Yeah, man, because I think he came on for the last sort of 40 minutes of the game, didn't he? And he was really the game changer for Newcastle. But there was a couple of pretty exciting fixtures that happened yesterday too. Probably the main one was the early one, which was Manchester City hosting Leeds, which, look, to call this I guess a keenly anticipated match probably underestimates the respect that Bielsa and Pep have for one another. But also, do you remember this game, the reverse fixture earlier on in the season?
No.
Okay, to be honest, I don't remember the score. I think City won. I think it was 2-1. But it felt like a basketball game because it was end to end and there was no midfield. And Leeds kind of made a mockery of Pep's sort of over-structured approach to the game, and it was incredibly exciting to watch. And it was pretty much the same here as well. This was a really exciting game to watch. But
and with 10 men for the second half, basically.
Well, I was just going to say, yeah. So Stuart Dallas, he took the lead on the 41st minute for Leeds off a really, really great shot from the inside of the post. But then just 2 minutes later, Liam Cooper was sent off for Leeds for a straight red. Similar tackle, I think it was Creswell who got sent off for something similar like this earlier on in this season. And I think there was one other where like it's all ball, they collect the ball and then pretty much studs up and just go straight through the player. And pretty disappointing, I guess, for Liam Cooper, because at that point you were sort of thinking, there's no way that Leeds can hold on to a 1-0 lead for an hour against the table toppers. But they managed to hold on. 35 minutes until Ferran Torres he scored from a bit of a cutback, and at that point you were thinking, look, they've tried hard, and even if City do only have sort of a bit of a second string side out there with like Ake started and Zinchenko played in midfield and Benjamin Mendy played at fullback, you still got a sense that this City are still going to get the winner. And as it turned out, there was a bit of a surprise finish to the game with none other than Stuart Dallas just kind of like what felt like he just sort of ran the length of the field, sort of Son-esque from I think it was 2 years ago, and just really strong running and ended up finishing through Edison's legs for a pretty unexpected result from everyone, I think. I'm not sure if you caught this, but I'm a fan. Like I'm a member of one of the, I think it's the Leeds Australia football fans group on Facebook, and they went absolutely berserk. There was about 100 people in this pub over in Perth, and man, it looked like the place to be in the world. It was honestly looks like so much fun, and I was so jealous of all of those people that were going nuts for their football team in a pub.
Yeah. Very jealous, mate. Very jealous of that.
Yeah, mate, you legit look very jealous. You look real sad right now. But mate, anything that you liked out of this game or didn't like?
No, I do actually remember the first leg. Now you mentioned it, and it was pretty exciting, and I thought Leeds were hard done by in that first round matchup. So, no, well done to Leeds for getting the win, and City just slightly sort of with a bit of a hangover from the Champions League, I guess.
Mate, do you think this is sort of the beginning of City's story to win the league in a canner and then lose all of the cups sort of finish to the season that they've now seemed to have almost trademarked?
They're not going to make the quadruple. They're not going to get the quadruple.
Well, let's face it, they're going to win the League Cup against Spurs in. I don't even know when that is. It's got to be can't be too far away. But let's face it, they're not going to win the Champions League. They're going to get knocked out by Porto in the semi-finals, and it's going to be a nightmare. And Pep's just going to Aguero's going to be playing until he's 50 because he promised that he would play Champions League until he won.
I don't think he's going to be there next year, but yeah, maybe.
Well, that's it. Even Aguero's given up on it. All right, mate. What else? Liverpool also hosted Aston Villa in a rematch of, remember that wild game from way back when Aston Villa won 7-2 against Liverpool, against the defending champions. That seems like that seems just like a bad dream. But Aston Villa took the lead. Liverpool then went on and equalised, and then got a late winner through Trent Alexander-Arnold as well.
Who played like dog shit the whole game, and then he pulled that out. So.
Well, I've got to say, like the commentators at the end of the game, I only caught the post match for this because I was watching the Matildas game. But in the post match for this, they were absolutely gassing Trent Alexander-Arnold, saying, "Oh, let's see what happens. Like when you leave him out of the England squad,
played pretty bad.
He's the best fullback in the world." And I honestly thought, oh, geez, like he's got the winner. He must have played well for that sort of reaction. But mate, judging from you, like
I don't know, and his Champions League game as well during the week. You know, the Real Madrid were targeting him the whole week, the whole game.
Well, we will get to the Champions League in a moment, though. But and that's a very good point. We shall come back to that in a minute, though. But mate, before we do, we're gonna tick over your beloved Chelsea. They were red hot against a pretty crummy Crystal Palace side, weren't they?
Yeah. So 2 goals in the first 10 minutes pretty much ended the game. I had a mate over watching it as a Palace fan, and he was pretty quiet. Yeah,
Palace friend.
Pretty quiet. So it was good performance.
That's pretty cruel though. That's pretty cruel. Like Palace are like they're on the beach already, man. Like and you invite your mate over to watch his team get spanked.
All right, yeah. I'll take it. I think the only interesting thing I would say from this game was the front three. So he played Pulisic out wide on the left. Kai Havertz is a number 9 or false 9, and Mount out sort of wide on the right, and it looked like it worked pretty well. So
it worked really well because there were a couple of things that really stood out for me, and it was Mason Mount. I thought looked really good, lots of space for him and lots of freedom for him to move around. But I thought Havertz, I really like him as a false 9. I think that's got to be the way moving forward for Chelsea. Yeah,
I think he missed a fair few chances. So I think, but like he still scored the important one, and I think if his finishing gets better, then it looked good. And Pulisic is looking really fit and dangerous as well. So I think he's played himself back into form. And the other thing is, when Timo Werner doesn't play, we look like we're going to score a few goals. So I think Tuchel's running out of patience with him. I think Tuchel's actually running out of patience with him. So,
do you think he's running out of patience, or do you think this is just a little bit of tough love?
No, I think he's missed a lot of chances. So it's going to cost us and it has cost us in a lot of games. So if you've got Pulisic and Mount who are genuine goal threats, and Havertz is chipping in, then between him and Giroud coming in to support him, then it could be the way to go.
Interesting. That was after watching Chelsea just sort of fall apart last week against West Brom. This was a genuinely impressive match though, and performance from Chelsea. And I think it was only about 2 weeks ago that I was saying that I think they're a really good chance to be to go through and win the Champions League. And based off of that performance and their defensive solidity outside of the West Brom game,
let's not talk let's not talk about winning the Champions League after spanking Palace though. I think we'll just hold our horses a bit because
sorry, mate.
I was saying defensively they look pretty good, but then against a decent team, can they score? Can they score enough to win the game?
And I guess that's the thing, because like in all of the big games you've had Werner on, and Werner's been trash. So if you take Werner out of that team and play them in like a big match in like a Champions League semi-final, are they going to be fine? If you're bringing on Cavani, if you're bring on
Cavani, yes, I like that.
If you're bringing on Werner for like the last 20 minutes when you're up 1-0 and you're playing on the counter, like that's a perfect scenario. So maybe that is sort of the way forward for Chelsea.
Yeah, and I think that's really Havertz needs to play like he did against Palace, because a couple of times he's played there and he's been pretty. And it's not been his fault a lot of the time. A lot of the time it's been just some of the build-up play hasn't suited him. But if they can get him involved, get him dropping in pockets and finding him, then yeah, that could be the way forward. But I'm just keeping the lid firmly screwed on very tightly. So we're not going to. We've been burned too many times this year. So let's keep the lid on it.
Mate, you guys have pretty much been in the Burns ward for this season. The number of times you've been burnt.
Yeah, exactly.
Alrighty, mate. One other game has already been played this Premier League round, and that was Friday night. Fulham hosted Wolves. Pretty more eventful game. Besides, pretty much, let's face it, a bullshit offside goal for Wolves that was disallowed, and then Adama Traore rediscovering his shooting boots, and pretty much, let's face it, scoring a screamer for Wolves to break Fulham hearts.
Been waiting all year for this. I've been waiting all year for him to do this. It's just
he's been due.
He's been due. It happened against Fulham, but not a highlight game really. Not one for the ages.
Very quickly, mate, we'll whip through a couple of predictions as well. Sheffield United are hosting Arsenal. Who's your pick for the winner there? Do you see anything other than an Arsenal win?
I never know what to expect when Arsenal play. Like, I really have no idea. Like, sometimes they play really well. They've had some injuries as well. I'm just pulling up the lineup.
This is sort of like the opposite of that line out of The Dark Knight, like the unstoppable force versus the immovable object. This is like the team that can't score versus the team that can't defend. Yeah,
I mean, Saka's back, which is big, as is Martinelli, and they're playing. So I don't know. I think Arsenal should technically, on paper, Arsenal should win, but I wouldn't bet $2 on it. That's how much of a lack of confidence I have in Arsenal. I'm going to say 2-2. How about that? Fuck it.
Interesting. I'm just impressed that you think that Sheffield United are going to score 2 goals. I mean,
shackles are off.
Unless they're 2 David Luiz goals or something.
McGoldrick.
Mate, West Brom hosting Southampton. You got to pick for a result there.
Oh, I mean, I couldn't be less interested in this game, Tommie. I tell you, it's such a nothing game.
Mate, let's move on then. Let's just say that match was abandoned midway through due to lack of interest.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Just give them both a 0-0 and let's move on.
Mate, a game with far more riding on it is Brighton hosting Everton. Everton still somehow have a game in hand for the remainder of the season still. So this isn't their game in hand, but I think they can jump up to 5th if they win this game and their game in hand. So still plenty riding on this season for Everton. But do you think they're going to be able to do the business away at Brighton?
I think Brighton still need to collect a few points, and I don't think Everton can do much damage. Even if they win 2 games, they'll still be behind Chelsea. So they'll be in 6th. They'll just jump Liverpool. So I think Brighton there's more at stake for Brighton. And Everton are just, they've had a decent season, but they haven't been good enough to challenge that top four, which is where they want to be. So, yeah, I'll give the points to Brighton on this one.
Very good.
At home.
Next up, we're going to talk a little bit of Champions League. So in midweek, there was 4 Champions League games that were played. The first legs of the quarterfinals. First up was the game that we've already kind of alluded to, which was Real Madrid hosting Liverpool. Real Madrid pretty much did some incredible things with targeting the right fullback position for Liverpool, and really targeting that the position that Trent Alexander-Arnold plays in. And George, we were just saying that the Real Madrid really targeted that right fullback position that Trent Alexander-Arnold was occupying, or at least in theory was occupying, because he didn't do a hell of a lot of quality defending really in that match, did he?
Yeah, and I think Liverpool was sort of found out in that game. I think Real Madrid just even though Vinicius hasn't scored too many goals for Real, and his finishing has been questioned quite a lot. Yeah, he just looked like the player that had been promised for a while, and he was just too good. And Asensio scored a really nice goal as well, and it was just who was there? Toni Kroos just pinging balls from the midfield with a lack of Liverpool press, and it's just too easy for Real. Like, they went in expecting a high pressing game from Liverpool and quality from Liverpool, and they just didn't show any.
Well, mate, there's a good point you make about Toni Kroos, because I think as soon as there wasn't sort of a big a really intense press coming, he was just licking his lips. And
you could see he point. I think he pointed to where Vinicius should have run in one, and I think that was the first goal. I think it was, and he just you give that those sort of midfielders time and space, they're going to kill you, and they did, and then this tie's over.
Well, I think it was in the More Than a Game group chat where Colby and Jesse, obviously 2 Liverpool fans, were. I think it was this game that they were referring to, saying that an away goal for Liverpool does give them a way back into the tie, but it's hard to see Real Madrid coughing up I guess losing 2-0 away from home, and
especially with no fans as well. Like, you're not going to have one of those magic, cop sort of driven. Wins, and I think Real are just too professional. They're sort of too tidy, and they'll manage to get through. If you want another example of it, think about, there was a Clasico last night. Real Madrid took the lead in that, and didn't look like they were going to lose, even though Barcelona were sort of pushing them, and they're just clinical with Benzema and those experienced guys, and that's why I don't think Liverpool will be able to overturn the result.
Mate, it made it a very good week for Real Madrid, winning the Clasico and getting a 3-1 home first leg in the Champions League knockout stages done as well. Moving on, though, Manchester City hosted Dortmund in a real sort of finger-licking good potential fixture in this leg. City did the business, though, getting the 2-1 win at home. And another game where getting an away goal was really valuable for Dortmund. But similarly, I think it's going to be a real challenge for Dortmund to either win 1-0 at home or more for them to qualify. I think City are going to be too good in the reverse fixture. But having said that, though, I don't see City progressing past the next one.
Oh, right. Well, yeah. But I think Dortmund is still in the tie, and they're really unlucky because I don't think you saw this, but Jude Bellingham beat Edison to the ball, and Edison got a VAR free kick and disallowing the goal. So that sort of impacted the tie, and then Dortmund got one through Rouse, and then obviously City got the winner through Foden right at the end. So they feel pretty hard done by, especially with the disallowed goal and then conceding right at the end. But I just think City have got too much quality, so that they will probably get the job done there.
Yeah, I think they'll manage this one through. Next up was Porto against your boys Chelsea. George, pretty clinical one. This one as well for Chelsea. This was probably the most straightforward of the four ties, really.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was surprised, but Porto were missing, the sort of two main goal threats. So, and I think those guys are Oliveira and the other guys have contributed 40% of Porto's goals. So they were out of the game, and it just looked like Porto were missing that cutting edge, and Chelsea were never really bothered, and Mount scored that nice goal, and then Chilwell. So yeah, I didn't think it was like an amazing performance, but they got the job done, got 2 goals, technically away, because as we all know, the game was in Seville, and the away leg is in Seville as well. So they're playing on neutral grounds for both games, but that first leg was Porto's home leg, and Chelsea have a 2-0 result. So it's pretty positive.
How stupid is it that they're playing a home leg and an away leg in the same place? Why don't they just say it's just a 2-legged game and both games are neutral and play no away goals? Well, then it's sort of, I don't know. I think it probably it just sort of undermines the entire tournament if you're having different rules for different games. But that's probably another topic. But yeah, I think the second leg, we've seen Porto score. Oliveira's back in. He's really dangerous, set pieces. And yeah, I don't think the tie's over, but Chelsea are in a pretty good position. The one thing to watch out for will be who Tuchel plays. Like, is he going to do the sit back and let's counter them again and maybe play Timo Werner and a few of the speedsters up front, or is he going to sort of try and play Giroud and maybe try and hold the ball a bit and sort of hurt them that way? It's a real shame that this doesn't have a home crowd at Stamford Bridge, because you think, it's a bit of an easy game for Timo Werner. At home, 2-0 lead already. There's not really much pressure on him. It's going to be a game that Porto, you would expect, would have to come out and play, and so there's going to be plenty of counter-attacking opportunities. Yeah. He can just attack that channel between sort of the right fullback and the right-sided centre-back, and it's perfectly set up for him, but it's just, I guess, not quite right for him still. So yeah, it'd be very interesting to see if he does stick with Tuchel, if he does stick with the winning lineup, maybe, yeah, or goes with Giroud, yeah. But mate, the big fixture of the round really was the Champions League final from last season's rematch, which was Bayern hosting PSG in the snow. How good was it to see a snow game? I feel like we haven't seen many snow games this year. Like, if maybe it's just hasn't been snowing much in England. Has it been snowing much in England? We've had a few days of snow, but don't worry about the photos. Mate, we'll have to put them up on more than a game for all the Australians that are just coming out of summer. Mate, pretty incredible game, because this game was just played at a freakish, absolutely wild level. Game. I wish this was like the final last year, but it was obviously, being a final, it was a bit tighter. But yeah, pretty amazing result. And overall, I thought Bayern were pretty unlucky. They had so many chances, and Mbappe was just too clinical, and Neuer, obviously, with the first goal, having a little bit of an error as well. So that never happens, does it? Yeah, I don't know. But the Bayern were pretty annoyed at the end of the game because of the amount of chances they created. Muller, Alaba, Choupo, who did get a goal as well. It was only last week. It was only last week that we were talking about on the podcast about how Choupo-Moting has just failed up and just continues to just defy the odds and have an amazing career despite being an incredibly average footballer. Yeah, he played pretty well. He was a constant goal threat, and if he just had if he was just a little bit better, Bayern would have probably got the draw. And obviously, if Lewandowski was playing. I'm a constant goal threat if I'm playing up front for Bayern. But yeah. And the other thing is, if you're saying if he was a better footballer, then Bayern would have won, which is you're pretty much agreeing with me, but you don't realise it.
True. All I'm saying is, PSG would be feeling pretty lucky with that result, and Mbappe's just devastating when he gets going. So Bayern would want to learn how to defend a little bit deeper, I would have thought.
There were a couple of things, I guess. Mbappe was just on fire in this game as well, but Navas, he had just an incredible match. I think he had like 3, 4, 5 saves, maybe even 6, where you thought, oh yeah, they're in here. They're probably going to convert here, and maybe that's the difference, is that without Lewandowski, they've got Choupo-Moting, and maybe Lewandowski does finish at least one of those, and it does sort of alter the game and the dynamic of the game dramatically. But
correct
still,
me if I'm wrong. I don't think he's going to be back for the second leg, so they're going to have to do it with the Choupo. Let me just
that would be really interesting if it's. I can't remember which side of the draw this sets up for, but I think a final of City versus PSG is just got to be the final that no one wants to see, though. I'm not sure if they can potentially play each other in the final or the semis, though. But mate, that pretty much wraps things up for this week, though. It's been great to have you on the pod again, mate. It's been a wild week of Premier League and Champions League, and there's plenty more to come next week. We'll do some more chat about Champions League, obviously plenty more Premier League, and also plenty more A-League too. So
it never stops, Tommie. It just never stops. Football never sleeps.
The football never stops, indeed. But until next time, thanks for joining us.